Acharyaji. And when I see how the meat is produced, how the vaccines are produced with the horses, how wool is produced, how silk is produced, it seems so obvious that I am contributing to that by consuming those things. But it seems that the rest of the world does not see that. It seems like there's a crazy world out there where people are pretending to be righteous and good and peaceful. It's like there was an elephant that was shot by a hunter in Africa, and everyone, I remember I was with people who were actually eating meat at the time, and they were saying how silly it is and how cruel it was to shoot that elephant. And then when I pointed out that what's on your plate, they got very angry, and it became this discussion about I need it for my health and blah, blah, blah. So it seems so obvious, but it seems that there's something that stops people from believing it. Sometimes when they see how the animal is killed, they change their mind, but not very often. But all that is hidden, and it's hidden. I don't even know what my question is. My question is, it seems so obvious. Why does it continue, I guess? Or why are people so resistant to?
See, propaganda has to be met with publicity. You know, the foundation had a TikTok account. It got banned because we were posting videos opposing meat consumption. Now I am told that when my videos pertaining to carnism and animal cruelty are posted on YouTube and Facebook, and we seek to promote them, the respective companies, apps, do not allow them to be promoted. So it's a matter of publicity. We need to shout into people's ears. We need to bring this to their notice. Our friend here wouldn't have asked this question had the thing not happened in front of his senses. So the matter has to be brought right in front of people's senses. That's the thing. Otherwise, we are so occupied with our mundane universe that we just have neither the intention nor the opportunity, to be fair to us, not even the opportunity, to look at these things. So somebody has to really shout aloud. We are trying in whatever we can. See, there is no other way. I mean, by hook or by crook, even without taking the other's consent, that video has to be pushed to the other's eyes. Right? If you do not like the video, block me. But till you do not block me, I'll keep pushing it to you. That probably is the only way.
Even something like vaccines that seems so ingrained in our society is produced using a lot of cruelty and horses' blood. And I agree that it's just making people aware.
And a lot of those vaccines are totally unnecessary. And populations who were subjected to the maximum to those vaccines are the populations who have shown themselves to be most vulnerable to this virus, the current one. Don't you see? Look at the mortality rate in all the developed societies. And those are the societies whose immune systems have been heavily compromised because of excessive use of vaccines. I mean, look at the third world. The mortality rates are like almost acceptable. Look at Pakistan, look at Bangladesh, look at Africa, even India. Compared to the population of India, the mortalities are nowhere the level of US or UK or France.
I guess this brings me to another question, and maybe I'm being righteous, but one of the things I noticed was this mortality per thousand rate that you were talking about, and part of me says, well, they deserve it. A little bit of gloating, and I can notice
You
that
don't have to feel guilty on feeling this way. I mean, there is somebody called karmphal, and it does not depend on whether we want it or not. It will come to us. It's like your credit card bill. It will come to you. You make use of vaccines for no reason at all, and your immunity will become so dependent on vaccination that when the next virus strikes, you'll again die in your millions. But then that's what all the pharma companies want, right? More and more vaccines, and this and that. Oh, a new virus has come. Don't you want to protect your kid? Come, vaccinate him quickly. And then parents, my God, my little Johnny, he needs to be protected. So first of all, Johnny has to be produced, and then Johnny has to be protected.
I guess another way that I've seen that works in convincing people to reduce flesh consumption is showing them the medical reports and even how dangerous milk is, and then they stop. But that doesn't stop the other cruelty towards animals in terms of clothes, vaccines, inputs for industrial goods.
Yeah, but if you can somehow disrupt one part of this entire consumption chain, all the other articles would feel the pinch. For example, if you can convince someone to not to use leather, I mean, if you can convince a sizable number of people to not to use leather, that would have an impact on the prices of meat. Or if you can convince people not to use milk and milk products, that would adversely impact the prices of leather and fur and everything else, meat. So once the prices rise, the consumption has to go down. You can even have a purely economic approach to the entire thing. You could say, let's figure out the actual cost of meat consumption or leather consumption or vaccination, actual cost, which includes all the environmental damage, including all the future environmental damage that slaughtering an animal causes. And you take in the entire cost, and then you price the animal product accordingly. And the price would be so overwhelmingly unaffordable. So even pure economics would do the trick.
Yeah, that's the same thing that people say about environmental, add in the externalities, the external cost.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, so it seems easier to convince people to stop because of health reasons. And there's a part of me that's saying, but so yes, it definitely has an impact, but am I giving up the bigger cause, or am I settling for something that's not the full?
No, but then, see, you cannot wait for someone to be spiritually realized before he gives up flesh. That would be too long a wait and too harsh on the animal. And there are several people who do not even intend to be realized. So that's probably the only way to take with them. Convince them that their body is suffering because of milk or meat. Convince them that probably even leather is carcinogenic when it comes in contact with human skin. Such things. Because if you take the high route, the route of compassion, the route of understanding, maybe they'll never walk that route, never prefer it.
I see that with my father. So I convinced him to stop because of the health reasons. But he says, and then maybe this goes back to day one, he says things like, I didn't do it for the animals, I did it for myself. And that I can sense my attachment to wanting him to have done it for himself and for the spiritual reason. So I think that's my...
Maybe that can come next.
That's my...
Maybe once you have given up meat for purely personal and selfish reason, the higher reason, the more sublime cause can follow next. when you come up with the right reasons, for most people it is just high sounding rhetoric. They don't want to be preached. They don't want lessons in compassion. So tell them where it matters to them, hit them where it hurts them.
I guess for me, I go back to the hypocrisy of it. So you said they don't want lessons in compassion, and that's been my experience. But then they profess to be so compassionate.
So that can be called out. That can
And
be
they don't
called
like
out.
it when it's called out.
So you don't have to worry about it. Fine. If they don't like it, why you worried about that? Fine.
I guess I'm worried because I won't be able to influence them to
Once
change
they
as
have
effectively.
disliked you, they have created a permanent position of your influence in their consciousness. Don't you see that? You can probably forget someone you like, but it's very difficult to forget someone you dislike.
So it lives in and it grows within.
They may counter you or contradict you very energetically. But what you would say, that would stay in their minds for long. It's just that you'll have to pay the price in terms of being personally disliked, which is, I think, a price we all must be prepared to pay.
I don't care about that. I
We
guess
must
I was
not care
more
about
worried
that.
about turning them off the whole thing completely so the mind just stops thinking about it. That's what I
They'll
was
be
worried
turned
about.
off towards you as a person, but they will remain sensitive, conscious towards the issue. Even if they engage with the issue in negative ways, even if they engage with the issue just to belittle the issue or to oppose the issue, but at least the issue would stay in their consciousness. It's no more something that they can be oblivious of. And we have to run that risk. We cannot keep, wanting to be popular among friends or acceptable among relatives. We'll have to run the risk of being unpopular, disliked, uninvited. Fine.
Yeah, I've noticed people, sometimes I think they'll react when I say I'm not going to go for a meal if there's animal products. I think they'll say, no, I don't want to go. But oftentimes they say, sure, let's try that. So I guess I'm seeing that that the way I think about it is not always how it's playing out as well.
Plus, let me assure you, just to incentivize you and the others a little, they may talk of you as an oddity. They may contradict you, or they may even probably go to the extent of ostracizing you. But somewhere deep within, they will respect you. So stand for the right thing. When we receive very harsh, very negative, abusive comments on all our social media, we take it as a success.
There's no such thing as bad.
Yep. Somebody has been hit just at the right place. On and off, we get death threats as well. And that is taken as a jackpot. Fine.
No question, but I want to say, whenever I watch your videos, the one thing that keeps that I'm most inspired by is the fierceness to stand for what is right, regardless of what anyone else says, thinks, or does. And just because everyone else is crazy doesn't mean I have to be crazy. Or
There's no other way to live.
so thank you for that inspiration.
There's just no other way to live. Don't have an option. Probably, had there been an option, we might have found it lucrative, even compelling. But there is just no option.